While the dollar has remained relatively stable and interest rates have remained higher than usual, Bitcoin's intrinsic market volatility, IM, has been quite low as of late. However, when the ISM rises above 50, economic growth resumes. Things are put back into the markets and people start making money again. Put simply, Bitcoin's speed increases significantly at this stage. That obstacle lies ahead. That moment is drawing near. We haven't illustrated her reaction to ISM in this presentation, but we believe it does. At 57 ISM, Bitcoin's value will hit 450,000. Let's go on to the next level of Raoul's banana zone. The potential value of XRP and other cryptocurrencies could skyrocket if Raoul is at the current rate of inflation. XRP is likely to reach $20.00 per coin or higher if Bitcoin reaches $450,000 0 per coin, as predicted by this ISM standard. Our collective memory recalls the wild days of altcoin season before to Solana and other initiatives like Ethereum's collapse, when XRP's growth rate was 5 times that of Bitcoin. Completely insane, Solana and Avalanche both experienced price increases of over 100 times, and many other cryptocurrencies simply went boom. On the other hand, XRP is facing a lot of new challenges, which we will cover in more detail later on. Before we get into that, though, it's important to understand the liquidity cycle and how to generate revenue before the money really arrives. For XRP, Bitcoin is the standard starting point, you guys. You must remember that. Press the like button to ensure that it is visible to everybody. All right, let's focus on Raoul now. Examining this financial cycle in further detail will help us understand it. For these graphs, I used global M2, which is a decent indicator of the global money supply. Since it's more current, thanks to the various data inputs, global M2 does an excellent job, but it takes more time to determine total global liquidity. Just like the dollar version, this is performing much better than Trump's last campaign, meaning there's a substantial amount of cash available. 2 factors drive global M2's progress. $1 on its own, which is why it's more efficient, and the international monetary system. You can see the banks and their activities there. Banks are being pressured by every government and central bank across the globe to purchase debt. That is because of Basel IV. The goal of the recent US SLR revisions is to increase the availability of bonds and debt in the banking system, forcing financial institutions to utilize them as funds to generate additional revenue. It's another method to devalue the coin. When we examine GLIM2 as a whole, it consistently accomplishes the same thing. Debt refinancing loops, not magic, are to blame for this. On a global scale, the average maturity of debt is 4 years. They are all between 3 and 5 years old. Someone's debt is going to be durable for an extended period. No longer can anyone provide long-term loans because the market is saturated. As a result, we've concluded that each time we do this, the 16-17 cycle ends with a breakout and a repeat. I predict that the breakout repeat will continue to rise, as will the bear market as a whole, due to the tightening of liquidity. Just like in 2017, when the economy slowed and interest rates rose, it did the same thing. So we gave it a second chance, and it happened again. The global money supply is at an all-time high, which should lead to record high asset prices. That's just the way things are. Moreover, global M2 versus Bitcoin. Now we can observe Bitcoin's behavior as it cycles over the same chart, returning to test before entering the next section of the banana zone. The banana zone is usually where the breakout begins a bit early. After that, there's the adjustment, and then it goes, I've also known as the banana zone's 3 phases. Q1 of the previous year marked the beginning of, at this point, we began to see an explosion in liquidity and new all-time highs in all of these areas. Bitcoin price reaches all-time high. The adjustment zone has arrived, and now is the time for correction. The second half of banana zone, which is usually here. My renowned chart has been replicated by every single person on the planet. 12 weeks before the market opens, it displays the worldwide M2 chart compared to Bitcoin. I feel like I'm being manipulated. As far as I can tell, this map is based on voodoo principles, and it actually works. Does it have any effect? Usually. In the grand scheme of things, Bitcoin outperforms global M2. The reason behind this is what it indicates about the end of this year is that with a few twists and turns, the speculative fever builds up over time as more people figure out what's going on. The alterations are to be expected. You should really simply follow the money. But I know you'll be asking me whether the banana zone is over, if everything is over, and if I should leave. Truly, it's that simple. Another point is that central banks are mimicking the actions of the dollar and banking institutions toward the Chinese yuan. My best guess is that China needs a weaker dollar and a tax agreement with the U.S. before they can use its 3D yuan currency. So long as the U.S. keeps weakening the dollar, they will allow dollars into China's financial system so that all of China's outstanding debts can be settled. Numerous of them are expressed in USD. That is the reason we are starting to emerge. More money is flowing in as a result of that. Problems are affecting more than just the banks and the weaker dollar. Money is also being added to the system by the central bank for the simple reason that everyone must settle their debts. That explains the many reversals, as with M2. The market rises whenever the total global liquidity metric peaks. I provided a link, and the accompanying chart proves it. The correlation with weekly global liquidity is 90%. I'm referring to Bitcoin. For the NASDAQ, it's an insane 95%. For that reason, denying that what is occurring